无国界国际朋友们 Okay, this is Janet, and call me E, and we were talking about the end of capitalism, and you seem to have a little bit of understanding, right? Yeah. Do you want to talk about this?
Sure.
Okay.
With the falling U.S. economy and the biggest society in the world that promotes capitalism is the United States, it seems to a lot of people that countries like India and China are rising in the world, and that capitalism is becoming something that was more of an ideal, but it was something they never thought would fall. But now that such a great society is falling.
Because of the Raymond Brothers and...
That's right.
Right, and the greed, and they actually package all these financial products and sell, and then actually a lot of countries actually bought those products actually because Raymond Brothers fell apart. And then I think Iceland went bankrupt. The whole country.
Really?
Yeah, Iceland.
Wow.
Went bankrupt. Yeah, for a while. I'm not sure how it's going out, but
yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, all of these countries that were so big on the world stage for so long, the U.S. for sure. Yeah. I mean, Europe now with all their economic problems.
The pigs.
Yeah, that's right.
Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece.
Greece.
S for Spanish.
Yeah, Spain, and yeah.
Spain. Right.
Yeah. I mean, all of them, there's like this huge crisis, and America is in a huge crisis situation as well. So it seems like the end of capitalism, and because America has so much debt in China, it seems like to the Western world that China is rising, and a lot of people are starting to panic a little bit and think, oh, what is going to happen when China rises? We all need to start learning Chinese. We all need to start, accepting their values, because this is going to be our future. I mean, it's not like a huge sentiment, but it's something that people kind of talk about sometimes, and hushed rooms, like, oh, what if this were to happen? And, what would it be like? And I mean, it would probably be the same as any other day in the world if America fell. But it's just been such a huge country since it came onto the world stage that a lot of people thought this would never happen. So, I mean, it's something that is happening now. And is Taiwan doing well in terms of the economy here, or?
Well, I think our Prime Minister actually said last Saturday that we don't have debt. We don't have foreign debt. Legend has it that we actually brought a lot of gold. Like we actually brought 90% of the gold from China. Seriously. And this was in 1949. So I guess we have gold. So yeah, and all the Chinese, artifacts and all that. I'm not sure what role Taiwan is going to play, but I'm pretty sure the Eurozone, the Euro, sort of at great risk is a huge problem. And what I've been reading on the internet is that they're going to use war to solve this problem, with Israel maybe attacking Iran. I don't have much to say yet. I think I need to study more to really talk about this, but it seems the end of capitalism is coming. And are you worried about sort of the communism being the dominant ideal in the world, or?
You know, we as a Western society read a lot of books about capitalism, or not, sorry, communism, and it's something that is kind of feared. It's something that was always promoted, and in the U.S. in the 1960s, they had like this scare, or like, you know, the McCarthy era, where like
demonized.
Yeah, communism was completely demonized, and so everybody just fears it. And we have grown up having books in our schools that we have to read, like 1984 by George Orwell, which is all about Big Brother and, you know, communism, and what it would be like in Animal Farm, which is, you know, also about this sort of thing. So for us, we read the books, but we've never really experienced it. To be in Asia and, you know, even though I've not visited China yet, I can still feel what that, you know, possibly could be like. I don't think that, you know, communism in China is necessarily an ideal. It's something that everybody strives towards. It's something that every government strives towards. Obviously, capitalism isn't perfect. You know, democracy isn't perfect. So these things are just ideals that we have in our minds. I think that, honestly, you know, Canada's going to, if this happens, is going to be the same country it always was. It's just that China is going to, and other communist countries like, you know, I guess I hope not Iran, but, you know, other countries with these sort of, what is the word I'm looking for here, that have ties with China are kind of going to rise a little bit in the world economy. And I don't see what the bad part about that is. Just, you know, another country doing things differently. The world is always changing, and it's time for a change. A lot of Western people won't agree with me there.
You know, it's interesting because communism is not really officially used anymore in China. They say socialism with Chinese characteristics, but who knows what that is, right? So, but they see themselves as a democracy. Actually, they have this huge propaganda, you know, on, you know, we want everybody to have a prosperous life but everyone knows there is not much human rights there. They're not very protected. And even though the bureaucracy there and also corruption there are being sort of pushed down, but still they have a long way to go. Like Taiwan 30 years ago was not democratic, right?
Yes, yes.
And now it's becoming more democratic. But in my mind, it's still not very democratic. Because the parties, the two major parties are always sort of fighting each other. And actually, this, what's the word? It's called factionism.
Yes.
The factionism is actually really sacrificing a lot of people's basic rights here still, I think. So we actually, as a young democracy, has a long way to go.
It's interesting because as Westerners in Taiwan, we see things so much differently. We know that this type of thing happens in Taiwan, but as a Westerner, most of us are like teaching English or in business, and we're making really good money doing that. Right. So we don't see the same things. It's really strange because in places like Canada, minorities are more marginalized there. It's kind of like, oh, you're a minority, just go to your section of your, you know, city and stay in that section. Whereas in Taiwan, it seems like foreigners are idealized, you know, like that everybody wants to talk to us. I have people coming up to me on the street here just to say hello. Oh, it's so great to meet you and want to speak English and stuff. And that doesn't really happen in Canada. So it's a really different type of society.
You know,
yes.
It's a very homogenized society, but at the same time, there are still different groups of people.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.